Hi, I'm Samantha Heil, Executive Director of Book Fair at Bel Air, and I'd love to invite you to one of the biggest bookish events in the region. Join us on Saturday, August 8th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at APG FCU Arena at Hartford Community College for a free, family-friendly event celebrating books, readers, and community. Book Fair at Bel Air features more than 110 authors and vendors, best-selling featured authors, kids' activities, face painting, story time, arts and crafts, photo ops, and plenty of fun for readers of all ages. Whether you're a lifelong reader, raising future bookworms, or just looking for a unique day out with the family, there's something for everyone at Book Fair at Bel Air. Learn more at www.bookfairatbelair.org or follow us on Instagram at Book Fair at Bel Air. We hope to see you there this August.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Hartford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch affairs.
It's probably the least sexy part of the organizing. No. The truth is,
What happens when the thing you think will break you actually becomes the thing that reveals your purpose? Today's guest is someone whose story is filled with pain, resilience, reinvention, and yes, a little bit of magic. John Kippen is a professional magician, best-selling author, speaker, and resilience coach who spent more than a decade, you heard me right, more than a decade, hiding from the world after brain tumor surgery left one side of his face completely paralyzed. For years, he wrestled with isolation, fear, and the feeling that he was somehow different in a way people wouldn't accept. But during that darkness, something unexpected happened. John rediscovered his childhood love for magic and storytelling, and what started as a private escape slowly became a bridge back to the world. And eventually, he realized something powerful. People weren't focused on what made him different. They were drawn to the hope, wonder, and humanity he brought to the stage. Now John uses his story, his magic, and his coaching to help others stop hiding, embrace who they are, and realize that the very thing they see as a weakness may actually be their greatest strength. His message is simple, but incredibly powerful. Being different is your superpower. How you doing, John?
Wow, you do a great introduction.
Well, thank you. I don't know what it is. When we were in the green room, we were talking about dyslexia. The other thing that it seems like I've been talking about lately on the podcast is brain cancer. Because I've had three friends recently with brain tumors removed. I don't know what is going on here. If it's like somebody's trying to tell me to focus on one pathway and talk to people about these stories or what, but it's weird how everything just keeps lining up within a month of each other.
Fortunately, mine was not cancerous. Mine was benign, but it was still killing me by displacing my brainstem.
Yeah, which is, yeah. All right, so I want to jump right into this because after everything you went through with the surgery, the paralysis, and spending years wanting to hide from the world, was there a specific moment where you realized, wait a minute, this thing I thought ruined my life might actually become my purpose?
It was by accident, to be honest with you. Okay. I was bored stiff being alone. I had lost my relationship because she didn't want me to hide. So I was alone. Fortunately, I had an IT consulting company that I could run from my home so I could put a roof over my head and make my living. But I was lonely. And finally, when I ventured out of the house, I started playing semi-professional poker.
Nice.
Because at a poker table, no one cares what you look like. They just want your bankroll.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But I started to establish friendships with these degenerate gamblers. And I played poker with a psychological tact. I wanted to know what I could make people do, make people raise, make people fold.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of an experiment. It was low stakes poker that I was playing.
Okay.
But it was, how do I get into their head to get them to do exactly what I want them to do? Which was what really attracted me to playing poker. And so I have lots of stories, which I'll go into about how I did that. The one funny story is I was playing at a casino in Hollywood called Hollywood Park. And
Right.
I sat down at a table and I looked to my right. And there was one of my high school mentors, actors.
Really?
Don Adams from Get Smart.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh, God, I love that show.
And he was sitting there with his caregiver in his wheelchair because he was in his 80s by that time and playing poker and not smiling. And, you know, he had just this dry sense of humor and he wasn't really talking to anybody.
Right.
So some of your viewers are old enough to remember Get Smart, but we were in a hand together and it was heads up and he missed his straight by one card. And my sense of humor turned to him and I said, Don, missed it by that much.
Shit.
And he turned and looked at me and started cracking up, which for viewers who don't know the series, that was one of his famous taglines.
Oh, yeah.
Missed it by that much.
God.
And we became lifelong friends after that until he had passed away.
Wow.
You know, it was just something that caught him off guard and
made his day.
Caught him present.
Yeah, you made his day there.
Yeah, after I took his money, I absolutely did.
Actually, with the poker part, do you think with you knowing magic and everything helped with poker?
Yes.
Okay.
The reading of people.
Yeah.
You know, as a magician, you get in front of an audience and you pick your favorites that you're going to want to have help you with an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
I do mostly close-up magic. And you need to be able to read them to know which way to lead them.
Yeah.
To be able to best fool them. And so you listen a lot. You listen to their conversations before they sit down at your table so that you get keys to their personality, to the ways they think, so that you can use that knowledge to really take them down a path and then pull the rug out from under them. And that's what I love about performing magic.
Did you, after the surgery, did you think you would ever be doing magic again?
You know, I would sit there at home, buy a video online, grab a deck of cards, I'd play with it. I'd entertain myself. I'd entertain close friends who were in my social circle. But that was as much as I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a professional magician.
Really?
But after leaving the poker world pretty much, because the relationships weren't long-lasting ones.
Right.
I joined a club in Hollywood called the Magic Castle, which is a private club for magicians and their friends and family. And I put together 3 tricks that were good enough to pass the audition. And so I would go on a Saturday night and just lurk and watch and see the other magicians doing their thing and how they engaged an audience. And I just had to try it.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting down at a table and I was dressed up in a coat and tie and all the men were in tuxes or toques and ties and the women were dressed very, very, very provocatively because that was part of the dress code. And I would start my act, and I noticed that people were distracted by my facial paralysis. And not in a judgment way, just in a curiosity way. Hey, did he have a stroke? Did he have Bell's palsy? Why was his face paralyzed?
Right.
I found that detracted their ability from being completely present.
Okay.
So I changed my act opening, and I would start saying, hey, Rich, thanks for coming. I've been a little bit about myself. I've been a magician all my life. But in 2002, I had a brain tumor. And when they removed it, they traumatized my facial nerve, hence the paralyzed face. But something happened to me on that operating room table, Rich. Now, I'm not sure what it was because, of course, I was unconscious. Thank God. All I know is I recovered. I realized I had acquired some new skills. And then I would pause. And I would wait for everyone to get on the edge of their seat, wanting to know what possible skills I could have acquired from having doctors monkeying around in my brain. And then I would look to my right and then my left and lean in and whisper in a loud voice, guys, I am able to visualize people's thoughts. And then I would do some mentalism or mental magic.
Oh.
And what that would do is two things. Number one, that would answer the question they were all thinking but didn't have the balls to ask.
What's that?
Oh, why'd your face got paralyzed? But the second is that shared something personal about me.
Right.
And so immediately I had a bond because now they trusted me because I really announced my biggest challenge in my face. So I found that after I would perform, and I was always good at remembering people's names, and I would always use them because people love to hear their own name.
Yeah.
And I would put my spectators on a pedestal and make the magic about them. And that was really the key to my success as being a close-up magician. But I found after the 30 or 40-minute performance, I would be having a drink at the bar or whatever, and people who would watch me would come up and ask to talk to me. And they would share their stories with me.
Wow.
Because they knew I had been in similar shoes.
Right.
And they saw this aura that came off of me, this self-confidence, and this power that came from me learning how to accept myself for who I had become. And that strength was attractive.
Yeah.
Not in a physical or sexual way, but in an emotional way. And people wanted that for themselves. And so they would belly up to the bar and ask me questions and share their stories. And that would happen every time I would perform. And it started to make me understand that I have something to offer people through my experience. And I have reverse engineered my whole life and every traumatic event in my life and how it shaped me to who I am as a 60-year-old fat man with a paralyzed face.
Is that why you decided to start speaking as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a TED Talk in 2019.
Which is very good, by the way.
Has over 1 million views. I did a documentary called John's Ultimate Illusion. Through my computer consulting company, I met some celebrities living in Los Angeles, and one celebrity was Jamie Lee Curtis. And she kind of adopted me as her third child.
Wow.
And I remember sitting there, a friend of mine who was an amateur filmmaker said, John, I love your story. I want to do a documentary on you. And I was very flattered. till I realized I would be paying for the production of that documentary.
Oh.
But at that point, I had already committed, so I said, all right, let's do it on a shoestring budget, but let's get it done.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting at Jamie's house with her by my side, and I'm staring at her computer screen. And I was telling her about this friend of mine who had said, I want to do a documentary on you and your story. And I wanted Jamie involved,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for so many reasons. Because one, I loved her. One, you know, who knows what she could bring to the table.
Right.
With her talent and her connections.
Mm-hmm.
And we were good friends. But I had to get that courage to ask her to be part of it. And finally, she prompted me, as I said, told her the details of the documentary. And when she didn't hear the question, she said, and? I said, and? She said, aren't you going to ask me something? And I sheepishly, like a 5-year-old boy, said, Jamie, will you be in my documentary? And she said, yes. And she was so wonderful.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I was working with amateur crews and other people in my life that were talking about me who didn't know how to really get their message out. She coached all of us and was there 5 minutes early and left 5 minutes after the call time was over and just was so giving of her knowledge, her directing abilities, and her love for the project.
Learned a lot from her.
Yes. And she was just so free to give it.
Yeah.
That I think she actually adopted me.
Nice.
I'm not in the will, unfortunately. Did you another Jamie story real quick is, you know, I considered having a plastic surgeon fix my face.
No.
And it was early on because it really bothered me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I hate looking myself in the mirror. I had covered all my mirrors in my house.
Wow.
I didn't want to be constantly reminded of my facial paralysis. And I stopped posing for photographs. Because in a photograph, it flattens the picture out. It really accentuates the droopiness of my left cheek. So I'd seen a world-renowned LA-based plastic surgeon. And I came very close to saying, okay, let's do it. And something happened with the scheduling and just, I won't go into details, but it didn't work out. And then later on, Jamie and I were talking, and Jamie asked me if I had thought about having corrective plastic surgery. And I said, yeah, and I told her the story about the doctor. And she said, well, is that something you want to do? And I said, I'd love to look better. And she said, well, do you want me to go with you to the doctor appointment? And I turned to her and I said, you would do that for me? She said, yeah, of course.
Wow.
So it was funny. We walk into the doctor's office and, you know, he's Beverly Hills elite doctor where you check in and an hour and a half later, they call your name. Right.
Right.
Well, now I walk in with Jamie Lee Curtis on my hip. And the receptionist sees that she's with me. And we could not get into an examining room fast enough. And she said, Doctor, I'm here to just take notes and be counsel to John. I'm not going to make any decisions on his behalf. I'm just here to hear what you have to say and then have an honest conversation if this is right for you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, Jamie and I, as we were driving back to the valley, we talked about it. And I said, no. My battle scars I wear not only on my face, but on my short sleeves as a badge of honor.
Yes.
And my facial paralysis, gives me a story that when I tell it, and I tell how I overcame the feeling of self-hatred, and I inspire others to stop hiding from life.
Beauty is on the inside. We hear it all the time, but it's true. And think about it. If you would have gotten that plastic surgery, the speaking, the TED Talk, all that stuff, do you think that
would have been irrelevant? The facial paralysis gives me authenticity.
Yeah. It's unique, and it adds to your story. And I know you are helping others.
Oh,
because
absolutely through my coaching practice, and even just meeting people who sense that strength that comes off.
Yeah,
because I'm proud of who I have become,
and you should be.
Being different is your superpower.
Yes.
It's what makes you unique. It makes you what's interesting.
Yep.
It attracts other people to you.
So with the documentary, was that ever submitted to any film festivals or anything?
It won 3 best documentary.
Did it really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I could see why, too.
And Jamie actually, the first one was Doc LA.
Okay.
It was a huge film festival in LA. And if you look in my background, you'll see a picture of Jamie Lee hugging and I hugging. And that was at that documentary reception. Nice. And she actually was asked by the producer to present the winning documentary award to me.
Wow. That I know that meant a lot then, especially having her present it to you. You had Kleenex handy, I hope.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring up real quick. I wrote a book called "Playing the Hand You Were Dealt." It's a memoir filled with all sorts of stories about my life, how I grew up, my parents, the schools I went to, the people I met. And the common theme through the book is that I lived my life with the idea that it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission. And has that bit me in the butt? Yes, it has a couple times because I crossed the line. But it's also given me some of the greatest experiences and introductions to people in my life. And so there's a chapter about the documentary, and it's filled with QR codes. So if you get the downloadable version, you just click on a link, and it will take you to a private area in my website where you'll see the TED Talk. You'll see my documentary. You'll see the award ceremony. You'll see me doing 2 illusions for Alex Trebek, which is another story. When he was diagnosed with cancer. And he came out with his diagnosis to all his fans on national television and asked for the prayers and positive thoughts for his treatment.
Right.
I got goosebumps because I had grown up with Alex Trebek. I admired him so much, being so smart. And I said, I thought to myself, I've helped a lot of people cope with going through cancer. And some have actually been inspired to fight it.
Good.
And beat it. And so I reached out to Alex's family. And I found his daughter, Nikki. And I somehow got her on the phone. And I said, Nikki, I need to perform magic for your dad.
Nice.
And I'm not going to take no for an answer. So let's figure out how to do it. And she was taken aback by it. I invited her to be my guest with her dad and mom and so forth to the castle. And that was a no-go because he didn't want to be among strangers. But they were having a 75th birthday party for Alex and invited me to be the entertainment for the party.
Wow.
And so there are links in my book to 2 videos of me performing for Alex Trebek at the close-up table. And it was such an honor because he was so smart and he wanted to know how the magic was done, that he was just, you could see the frustration in his eyes to one point where he actually started beating on me with his fans.
Really?
And, yeah. Like, I'm frustrated. How did you do that? And then after the 40-minute show, which was specially written just for Alex,
nice,
it had a Jeopardy theme, and I got the pleasure of actually doing some pre-show at the Sony stages on the set of Jeopardy.
Oh, nice.
Where I did a prediction video where I predicted what would happen during the party. And I had recorded that a month and a half before the party ever started. Yeah.
Wow.
And that blew the room apart.
Wow.
And I can't go into the details of how that was done, but it was done well. And because I had people pick random things to talk about, and, you know, a random playing card. He picked his daughter, one of his daughters, Emily, to think of a random question, which ended up being the name of the first boy she ever kissed. And when that got revealed during the party, I revealed it during the party. That reveal was also in that video that had been recorded 90 days earlier.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is, wow. Okay. First of all, if you ever come to my house to do magic, I hope that question is not asked about my daughter, because I will track the boy down.
Fair enough. I can just make him disappear. That's all.
That works for me even better.
You know, and I'll give you my rate card. And but anyway, so that's on a tangent. But anyway, at the end of this interview, I'll be giving your listeners a URL to go put into their computers to be able to download that book for free.
Great.
But I asked that it not be in the show notes so that people actually have to listen to the whole episode to get that gift.
But they can also purchase the book as well, right?
They certainly can. Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Wherever books are sold. Okay. So I'm just going to say this right now, those of you listening, when you purchase the book, and of course at the end when he gives you the link, do that too. But when you purchase the book, after you read it, leave a full review everywhere that you can, whether it be Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Goodreads, Amazon, wherever. Take a photo of yourself with the book, put it on social media, and tag John as well.
That would be wonderful.
And then purchase copies for other people to read. I have to ask you about the Magic Castle because, and I learned about the Magic Castle through, Penn and Teller's Fool Us.
Right.
That's how I learned about the Magic Castle. And there's only one, right?
There's only one.
Okay. How hard was that to get into? Because not just any magician can become a member, can they?
Well, I joined in 2006.
Okay.
And in 2006, they were hurting financially.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so they let people in because they wanted their membership dues.
Mm.
And so it was much easier back in 2006, 2007 to get in as a member than it is now.
Okay.
But you had to go through a 15-minute audition. You had to do 3 or 4 tricks.
Right.
I had no trouble because I have a outgoing personality, and magic had still been part of my life. You know, I had gotten the pleasure of working with Doug Henning when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
I got the pleasure of meeting Siegfried Roy.
Wow.
I actually was hired to teach Roy Horn how to use a computer.
Get out of here. Are you serious?
I do not tell a lie.
Wow.
And it was funny one night. So I was flown to Vegas, driven in a limo to their forest palace. I think it was called their jungle palace, taken to a little bungalow, and set up a laptop and waited for them to come in. And 10 minutes later, in comes Siegfried Roy, and Siegfried sits in a chair with his arms crossed, just laughing his ass off. And Roy sits next to me, and I start going through the basics: how to turn it on, how to use the mouse, and 5 minutes into it, Roy says in his thick accent, Austrian accent, "John, I don't think this is for me." And I said, "Roy, a lot of people went to a lot of trouble to bring me here to buy this laptop for you. Give it 10 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Okay." So 10 or 15 minutes later, he stopped me and he said, "John, again, my brain just doesn't think this way. And it was a pipe dream for me to learn how to use a computer. I'll make you a deal." I said, "What's that?" He says, "If you take the laptop back and I'll let it be I don't care what it costs my company. We can afford it. I'll let you be my guest at our home for the rest of the day. And you'll be our personal guest at the show at the Mirage tonight."
Wow.
And I said, "I can't pass that up. I agree." And they invited me to join them for lunch, which I did, in this huge mansion. And as dessert was being served, this gentleman shows up. And he said, "Okay, John, here we go." And I'm like, "What?" He says, "Oh, no, you're getting the tour of the property with all the animals."
What? All right. How many acres is that?
Big.
Yeah.
Big.
Wow.
And they kept all of the animals that were in that night's show at their property.
Wow.
And so I'm seeing lions, tigers, bears. Oh my. I'm seeing elephants. I'm seeing ostriches. I'm seeing just tigers.
It's like being in a safari.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And they were so well taken care of. They had a dozen or so handlers.
Mm.
And, Siegfried Roy raised many of these white tigers, which is their favorite animal. And so as the day came to a close and the limo driver was going to take me back to the Mirage, this other young trainer came to me with a white tiger cub in its arms.
Oh.
And she said, "John, would you like to pet him?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
So there I am petting this white tiger cub.
They're beautiful.
And that white tiger cub's name was Montecore. Montecore was the cat that ended up injuring Roy.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
10 plus years later.
Wow.
So even better, I was a theater major, so the limo driver, as he's driving me back to the Mirage, he's like, "Who are you again?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No one gets that kind of treatment." I said, I have no way of explaining it.
Right.
He just must have liked me. So anyway, I got back to the Mirage and took a nap and then got dressed for the show and came down and met the stage manager. He says, "John, I got some bad news." He said, "What's that?" I said, "We've completely oversold the show. Every comp seat is taken.
Wow.
Would you mind seeing the show from the lighting booth?" And I said, "Are you kidding me? Of course I want to see the show from the lighting booth." So she said, "Okay, John, follow me." And we go through these double doors and up these stairwells and so forth. And we end up in those lighting booths where they had put a chair right next to the stage manager. She's calling the cues of the show. And I'm sitting there in seventh heaven watching them produce this show. And for those who didn't see it, the Mirage built the theater specifically for Siegfried Roy's show.
Mhm.
So they had a ramp that went from one side of the stage to the other. And Siegfried Roy would run along the ramp through the show. And there was one time where they had an elephant that Siegfried was riding that was going across the ramp. And as it got to the end of the ramp, it decided he needed to go. And so the elephant lifted his tail.
Oh, God.
And dumped a load on the corner of the ramp. And it was all hay.
Yeah.
It was really hay. So, but it was huge. And the stage manager's on this headset calling to the backstage crew saying, okay, we got to find a place in the show to stop so we can clean it up. And before they had a chance to coordinate that, Roy started running from one side of the stage to the other over the ramp.
Oh, no.
And Roy was always looking out at the audience, never looking down.
Oh, God.
And the crew in the booth, it was all like slow motion. Like, oh, he's going to see it, right? No, really, he's going to see it. Oh, God, no! And he ended up kicking it into the audience.
What?
Yeah. The area between the front of the stage and the ramp were the expensive seats.
Gallagher doesn't have anything on him.
No. So they end up stopping the show, and Siegfried comes to the front of the stage and puts his hands up. Because the audience, you can imagine, is going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And he quieted the audience down so you could hear a pin drop. And the crew helping these poor shit-faced people to their new suites at the Mirage.
Oh, wow.
And as he started to speak, he said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very disappointed in you. Everyone knows shit happens. And the entire audience erupts in laughter once again.
Oh, God.
So many years later, I'm performing at the Magic Castle and in the close-up gallery, which only had 30 seats.
Right.
And there's a little side door that the manager would peek into and say, John, you ready? And I'm like, yep, I'm ready. And he would do my introduction, which was always short. John prefers a short introduction to make more time for the magic. And I come to the curtain, sit down, and there on the right-hand side is Siegfried.
Oh, wow.
Watching my show.
That's amazing.
And after the show, Siegfried and his friend Roy had passed by then.
Right.
Siegfried came and introduced himself, and we shook hands. And I said, you remember many years ago when there was this young college kid that came to teach Roy how to use the computer? He goes, that was you? I said, that was me.
Wow.
And then we got a picture together in the lobby, shaking hands. So, I attract interesting things to happen to me because I just do it. I just do things. I don't wait for anybody to say, yes, you can do this. I wait for people to say, wait, you can't do that.
Right.
And I found through my life that once you start doing something, people are hard bent to actually get in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, it looks like he knows what he's talking about. Let's just let him do it.
Wow. Now, besides the Magic Castle, do you tour anywhere and perform your magic as well?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't like traveling. I'm a big guy, and traveling is a pain. And I really focus on now my coaching.
Yeah. And what is it? Tell everybody about your coaching, what that involves.
Well, it's an hour a week.
Okay.
And basically, I share my methodologies on how to overcome adversity, how to put life in perspective, and how to take what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone has gifts.
Right.
No matter who you are, how old you are, what you look like, you have gifts. And if you learn how to use those gifts in your everyday interactions with people, you can't help being attractive. You can't help being lovable. And that's the secret to life, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
is we're all put on this earth and we all come up with things that we're really good at because we're interested in it. And people want that. They want to see what you're able to do. And you become revered in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my case, people look beyond my facial paralysis, into my stories, into my heart. You can tell I'm a storyteller.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just to be able to take someone and give them an escape from their troubles
Mm-hmm.
for an hour is my greatest gift.
Wow.
And I teach people how to do that.
Can you share a feel-good story of somebody that you've helped with your coaching? And you don't have to use their name. Okay.
There are dozens, but...
Well, you can share as many as you want.
Okay. I was at the Magic Castle one night, upstairs, just hanging out, having a beer, looking for a great group to do a show.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman was walking down the hallway, dressed in baggy black clothes with a hat that reminded me of a witch's hat. And she was looking at the floor. And I could tell her brain was in a different place.
Right.
So as she passed, I said, "Hi, how are you?" And she stopped. But the look on her face was, "Just leave me the hell alone, please."
Wow.
And then she continued walking downstairs to catch up with her group. Well, I saw that as an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I caught up with them and I said, "Guys, you having a great time?" They're like, "Oh, yeah, this is an amazing magic place." And I said, "Yeah, but have you seen any really good close-up magic?" And they shrugged their shoulders. And they said, "All right, come, let's go." And I took them to one of those famous green tables in the corners of the castle where a magician will sit down and there's 6 or 7 chairs for people to sit down. And the woman who was dressed in baggy black clothes, her name was Darren. And I put her to my right. And my goal for that interaction, that purpose of that performance was to get Darren to smile. That was it.
Nice.
I wanted her to forget about her troubles for 45 minutes. So I made the show about her. Every magical moment happened because she did something. Wow. And I started 2 or 3 minutes into the show. All of a sudden, she stood up, sat up straight. And then she removed that funny hat. She started making eye contact, and I could see she had glistening eyes. And then she started to smile. And I could tell whatever baggage she brought with her was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished the show. And normally audiences would clap and they'd get on and they move to something else. But this group wanted more. So I shared the story of how I had hid from cameras and mirrors for over 12 years because I didn't like the way I looked. And that all changed August 3rd, 2017, when I went to my first magic convention in Las Vegas called Magic Live. And I was amongst the greatest magicians in magic. And I got the courage to ask these magicians to take pictures with me. And I would start handing my iPhone out to people and say, "Do me a favor, take our picture."
Mm-hmm.
And I did that 24 times. And I got home and I'm uploading the photos to my computer from my phone, and it dawned on me, it's these great minds in magic had no trouble taking a picture with me. What was my true problem?
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually the beginning of my healing, where I finally understood that my facial difference did not define me if I didn't let it.
Right.
And so that rebuilt that self-confidence one photo at a time. And at that point, I didn't care. If people didn't want to look my way, they could turn around. They could go the other way. I didn't care. You know, another story, I was sitting in a restaurant by myself after my girlfriend had left me. It was at Tony Roma's, and I'm just sitting there having a burger and in a booth, and there's this family in the booth in front. And there's a mom, dad, and a little boy, 5, 6-year-old boy. And he's fidgeting, so he gets on the back and turns around so his knees are on the back of the bench, and he's looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's cocking his head like, you know, a lab would do.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and he walks over to the table and looks up to me. He said, "Mister, what's wrong with your face?" And initially, I just wanted to shoo him away. But then I thought about it for a moment, and I said, you know, I could change this little boy's outlook.
Uh-huh.
I could make him compassionate for other people who were different. So, before I had a chance to say anything, his mom saw and came and grabbed him by the shoulder and dragged him to the back of the table, saying, "Don't bother the nice man. He has enough troubles already."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I got up from my table and went over to his table and knelt down on the knees so I was eye level with the boy. And I said, you know, you had a really good question. You see, I had a medical procedure that caused me not to be able to move my face. But it's my new face, and I love it because it's mine. It's different. It's cool. It's just like yours, different.
Wow.
And the boy proceeded to take his fingers and grab his cheeks and start to distort his cheeks so they looked like mine.
Wow.
And he looked up at his mom and dad and said, "Look, Mom, I can do that too." And he went back to eating his dinner. But I looked at his parents, and they were whispering, "Thank you."
Oh, man.
Because at that point, they realized that they had been sheltering their child
Yeah.
and not giving him the opportunity to see life through their lens. And not to be fearful of people who are different, but to respect, be curious, but be caring of other people who look different than they were.
Something you had said in the beginning, too, how a lot of people were afraid to ask you what happened. But when it comes to kids.
Oh, there's no filter.
No. Yeah, we can still learn a lot from the kids. Even though we teach the kids, we can still learn a lot from them. You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I want to share something really special about a company that I not only trust, but also use and also truly admire. Freedom Federal Credit Union. Why Freedom? Because they go beyond everyday banking to really make a difference in our community. They've established the Freedom to Help Foundation, which actively supports local initiatives, making our neighborhoods stronger and more connected. Whether it's promoting financial education or backing community projects, Freedom Federal Credit Union is there, investing in our shared future. And it's not just about community programs. I trust them because they provide excellent personal and business banking services that make managing finances straightforward and secure. Their commitment to our community and their members really sets them apart. So if you're looking for a financial partner that aligns with your values and actively contributes to bettering the community, check out Freedom Federal Credit Union. Visit them today at freedomfcu.org or call 1-800-440-4120. Join me in banking where it matters.
My third story, I'll try to make it quick. I was getting out of my car at the valet at the Magic Castle, and this gentleman screamed my name, and I looked around, and I didn't recognize him. That's fine. I went up to him, and he said, "John, we were here a couple months ago. We saw your show. Man, it was good. I have a favor to ask." I said, "Sure." "Well, I have a friend here. His name is Ron, and he's never been to the castle before. He lives in Culver City, not too far away, but he got a call from the doctor this morning that his cancer had returned for the third time. And this time it was blood cancer. And Ron had told his wife and his friends on the drive up to the castle, they literally had to drag him out of the house.
Wow.
That Ron was not going to fight this time. He was just going to let it consume him and kill him. And so we walk through the front door and we're going to a room where I could do a show. And the gentleman, Joe, who recognized me, whispered in my ear, and Ron got that diagnosis today, and we're trying to cheer him up. I said, "I hear you." And so I spent the entire evening with them, and especially Ron. And they had dinner. They invited me to have dinner with him, and I did. And I spent my time just sharing my story with Ron, the hope, the dreams, that he could beat cancer if he chose to. You know, it comes from, that strength comes from within.
Yeah.
And you can't do it for anyone but yourself. But if you truly, truly, truly want miracles to happen, you can make them happen.
Don't give up.
And the next day I got a call from Roy Joe, and they said on their way home, Ron changed his mind. And he told his wife to sign him up for all the treatments, no matter how painful they were going to be, how disrupting to their life. If John could do it, I was going to do it.
Good.
And 8 months later, it's funny timing. 8 months later, I got 2 emails. The first was from Ted SDSU saying I'd been selected to be in their TED event. And the second was for Ron saying he was in remission.
No, wow. Because he didn't give up.
He didn't give up. And we become lifelong friends.
And how's he doing now? Still in remission?
Yep.
Wow. One of the things, and we've talked about it. As a matter of fact, I had a gentleman on brain cancer, and he went to 5 different places. The 4th place gave him a year.
Mm-hmm.
That was 25 years ago. Because he didn't give up. Yeah. And I hate it when doctors give you like a death sentence. You only have so many months. And I think they do it to protect their ass, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But don't give up. Those of you listening, don't ever, ever, ever give up. Just keep fighting. Look, go out and watch John speak. Do his coaching. Go to the Magic. I got to come out there, John. I have to go to the Magic Castle.
Okay.
And then I'm going to buy you a beer afterwards. Beer's your favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Beer or champagne.
Beer or champagne. Okay.
I'm not a hard alcohol drinker.
What kind of beer?
Corona Light.
Corona. You're right. You're not a big alcohol drinker. We
No,
say
I'm
Corona Light.
My parents were functional alcoholics.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll buy you dinner instead.
That's even better.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely do that. Where can people actually, for your coaching and everything else, find you and hire you?
Well, they can go to johnkippen.com. I'll let you put that in the show notes.
Okay.
It's just my name. And there's a coaching link that they can click on. And they'll sign up for a time to get a free, no obligation introductory call where we get to talk either just by phone or via Zoom, where I can hear your story and see if as a magician, I don't believe anything is impossible. And so my coaching method is called the I'm possible method. Took the word impossible, broke into 2 syllables.
I like that.
Actually, I'm possible.
I love that.
And so
you got to get that put on a shirt.
Impossible method and how that can change your life.
Mm-hmm.
My secret to life is helping others. Because when you help someone else going through a tough time, no matter what you're going through, you take time out of your life to be present with someone, a friend, a stranger, whatever. Your self-confidence gets such a boost that you help someone else out of the goodness of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily just giving them money. It's being present.
Yes.
Actually listening to them.
Even just a smile. Just a hello can make a difference.
Just a high five.
Yeah.
I have a coaching client. I also coach magicians and on magic, but on presentation and story. Because that's what I am, a storyteller.
Right.
And I had this young kid, 25 years old kid, and his dad was paying for his coaching lessons. And we would meet once a week, and I charged him $50. I wasn't going to get rich off of him, but I really saw potential in this kid, and I wanted to help him move forward in his magic career. And one day I got a call from his dad saying, "John, I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue paying for my son's lessons because I was diagnosed with cancer, and they're giving me 4 months to live."
Oh, God.
And it's very expensive. And so I don't know if I'm going to continue being able to. But the worst thing is I finally got the courage to tell my son the diagnosis. And my son retreated. And he's left my life. He stopped calling me. He stopped answering the phone. He stopped coming over.
Wow.
He's my only member of my family now. When I need him the most in my life is the time that I scared him away with that cancer diagnosis. And I don't know how to fix it. And I know, John, he respects you. So would you please have a conversation with him? And I said, I will absolutely do that. So I called his son the next day, and it wasn't our typical day for a coaching lesson. So he was kind of surprised to hear from me. And I'm not using his name on purpose, but I said, he said, "Hey, John, this is not Friday. What's going on?" I said, "We're not talking about magic today. I got a call from your dad yesterday." And he shared his news, not only of his diagnosis, but about your reaction. And here I go butting my nose into someone else's business at the risk of losing you as a friend, losing you as a client. But I'm going to make a promise that if you don't repair that rift between you and your dad in his greatest time of need, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life. And his son kind of broke down. He said, yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. And I just don't know how to repair it. I don't know how to do it. I said, it's simple.
Pick up the phone.
What's your dad's favorite meal? He says, oh, he loves Hawaiian pizza.
Oh.
I said, great. Friday after dinner, Friday after work, go to his favorite pizza joint and get the biggest Hawaiian pizza with extra pineapple.
Yes.
And go to your dad's unannounced, walk in, put the pizza on the kitchen table, and say, Dad, let's eat. And the next day, 2 days later, actually, his dad called me and said, John, I don't know what you said. I don't know what you did, but my son and I had the best conversations we've ever had. And I cried, he cried, we embraced. We just sat there, sometimes just silent, eating that pizza. And I said, with extra pineapple? And he started laughing. And he said, it was the best moment of my life. That somehow I had my son back in my life. And it was because of what you said to him. And I said to him, I didn't say anything super special. I just reminded him how important family is. And that he was going to regret not patching up that issue with you for the rest of his life. And it was going to change his relationship with everyone he would meet moving forward. Every romantic interest, in his kids, every friend, it was going to affect.
Man. All right. You need to do another book on these stories, or because you're doing a podcast about magic, right?
Yes.
Why not do a podcast and share these stories as well?
Yeah.
Because I mean, just hearing that, when other people hear it, it motivates them and helps them and changes their life as well.
Well, I share a lot of these stories on podcasts. I've done 30 of these kind of podcasts.
God.
Because my goal is to help clients of all ages, all ethnic backgrounds, learn how to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
We are our biggest obstacles.
That's true.
You know, in my coaching program, one session or 2 sessions is I talk about dreaming and the importance of dreaming. You know, as kids, we dream a lot. I remember when I would be there 5, 6, 7 years old, and my parents would have a friend over for dinner that I had never met. And they introduced themselves. And what's the first thing that a stranger says to a young boy? John, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And I would say, I want to be a policeman. No, I want to be a rocket scientist. No, wait. I want to be a rock star. And then I would grab 2 rulers and go into my room and start banging on stuff
drums.
like I'm playing the drums, and get out my air guitar and singing it out of key and just spinning around. And I was in this land of make-believe for hours, or at least till I heard Mom call me for dinner. And then I realized that at some point you grow up a little bit, and you get a job, and you build a family, and you build a career, whether or not it's working for yourself or someone else. And then you get to be my age, 60. And you look back on your life, And you realize that you've checked all the boxes of everything you wanted to accomplish. And you wonder why you feel so hollow. And it's a simple answer. Because you were living someone else's dream. You were living your father's dream, your grandmother's dream, your teacher's dreams. But you weren't really living your dream. And that's why people, as they get to retirement age, are so unfulfilled, unsatisfied, joyless, because they've squandered their life away on someone else's dream.
Yes. Yep.
And it's never too late to start dreaming again. Every night before I go to bed, I spend 5 minutes in that land of make-believe where there are no money problems and there are no health problems. And what can I achieve tomorrow that will bring me joy?
Yes.
And you wake up that next morning and that's still in the back of your mind. And you dreamt about it and you lived it and you've imagined it to the point where you just take action and try it. You know, that's the word in my vocabulary I've tried to remove. Try.
Just do it.
There's either doing it or not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying is an excuse. Trying is, well, you know, I gave it 15 minutes and it didn't work out. But I tried it. And it's such a cop-out. So, you know, we talk about in my coaching a lot about, you know, getting rid of those couple words in your vocabulary that give you an out to stop moving forward. You know, coaches talk about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about tiptoeing out of your comfort zone. Because you tiptoe out of your comfort zone and you get one toe wet. And if all of a sudden it starts to burn, you pull back and you sort of think about it. And you try a different tack until all of a sudden you tiptoe it and the warm feels nice and warm. And
I like that.
And then you know you're on the right track.
I really like that.
Jumping in with 2 feet and then realizing that that's really not what you wanted, but you're committed at that point.
Yeah. I like that. That makes a lot more sense. Because, a lot of times when you step right into it, you're already going forward. You can't step back.
Yeah.
Wow. John, man, I could sit here and talk with you. God, I wish we were in person doing this. Because then you could also show me some of that magic. But that just gives me an excuse now. I have to come out to California. It's been... Oh, my God. It's been a long time since I've been to California. 1982? 83? Something like that, early 80s.
83, I graduated high school.
All right, don't rub it in, John, okay? I know you're younger than me. Jeez. And I do have to thank you because I noticed on your website at the Magic Castle, you had a bunch of my brothers in the room with you doing your magic. And when I say brothers, talking about Marines.
Oh, man, I love performing for the armed services.
Oh, and I want to thank you for that, truly, because I know they loved it. We always love stuff like that. Oh,
you see the pictures of me that were taken of me performing for those, and those are special pictures because of the castle, you're not allowed to take pictures.
Oh, so really?
The woman, Joan Lawton, who was unfortunately passed away, she was in charge of bringing the armed services to the castle. The castle allows anyone who's an armed service in the police or fire department to get in for free.
Wow.
You don't get a free meal, but you get
Right.
in, you bypass the door charge. And she saw me once just happen across a Marine in his dress uniform and his girlfriend sitting down with them and performing magic. And he saw the joy in their smiles to the point where she came up and said, John, you want to do this all the time? I said, absolutely, I do.
Wow.
I want to be able to say thank you in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time she would have a group of Marines or Army or at the castle, she'd give me a call and say, hey, are you going to be there on Thursday night? Because I've got a group I need you to meet.
Whew. Man.
It was just to see the look on those service people's faces in those pictures.
Oh, they were all smiling and looked amazed. Yeah.
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 And they were so thankful.
Yeah.
They were so polite. They were so honored that I would take time out of my schedule just to be present with them and give them hope. Magic is hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thank you for that, because a lot of people that do stuff for active military, first responders, and veterans, I think a lot of them don't realize how grateful we are for for what they do, and we
and a lot
really
of people
are.
take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know, which it's natural to do that.
Yeah. But I
every
saw
once
that
in a while, you got to give back.
Yeah.
And say thank you.
Yep, exactly.
You know?
Well, John, before I get to my last question, which you're going to have to pick, this is where the magic's going to come in. Is there anything you would like to add?
I love what I do. I love my clients to death. I have seen such awesome transformations come up in people's lives just by building rapport and having them open up their hearts to me. And we've been able to discover what it is in their lives that's holding them back. So many people don't know what those things are because they've hidden them so deep. But I help them go back and find what those are and remember how petty those things actually are. During the pandemic, and I know we're going way over, and
You're fine.
Care. During the pandemic, I was lonely. And so I invented a game. It's called Rolodex Roulette. Now, for those who don't know what a Rolodex for your younger listeners, it's this little spindle in a stand, and you put these cardboard cards with people's names and addresses and phone number, and they're all in alphabetical order. So you want to call Rich. You don't remember his phone number. You go to the R's, and there's Rich Bennett and the number. Well, in today's society, our Rolodexes are phones and the contacts in our phone. So the way you play Rolodex is simple. You go to your contacts, you turn the phone away from you, and you blindly scroll up and down, and you land on a name, and you turn around and you see who it is. And that's the person you call that day, just to say, hey, how are you? You know, I was thinking about you. What's going on? I haven't talked to you in weeks, months, years. I talked to you yesterday, but it doesn't matter. And they get, especially for people you haven't talked to in a while, you get this reaction like, John? Huh? What can I do for you? And I said, nothing. I just had you on my mind. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about those good times. And I bring up a story about how we got into trouble together or how we celebrated something or just a funny story. And I was just thinking about you and I wanted you to know it. that you were in my thoughts.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to do that.
And you do 2 or 3 a week.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's another aspect of the game, which is a little on the sneaky side.
Okay.
So we all have those people in our contacts that we had a falling out with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And some of them, we don't even remember the specific details of the argument. We just know that we're not about to be the one to make that first reach out to try to mend that fence. We're waiting for them to call us and say, I'm sorry. Well, playing the game takes that responsibility away from you. I call Rich and say, Rich, before you get started, it's John. I'm playing this game I learned. And the rules strictly state that the name you stop on, you must call and have a conversation with. So, how are you? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's been so long since we spoke. And that takes that responsibility that I'm not going to be that pride. I'm not going to be the one to reach out and bend that fence. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
And it puts it on the game.
Ooh. I really, really love this.
And you would be amazed how you start talking about that situation and you both start laughing because you remember it differently.
Uh-huh.
And then you come to the decision that it was such a petty little thing.
And it usually is.
And, it was over a woman, it was over whatever, it was over, and you're like, we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes. But life is about owning those mistakes and moving forward. And saying I'm sorry isn't that difficult?
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
And it's amazing how many relationships I was able to repair.
Just by doing that.
By literally playing that game.
I've never heard that before. I mean, I heard it in sales.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when you're supposed to do the phone calls, you spin the Rolodex and you call whoever you come up to. But as far as, and with phones now, because you're right. We have contacts in there, especially if you have an Android, because it connects to your Gmail.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to do this because I know there's a lot of people I haven't called in years, probably even decades.
Life is about the relationships we have with friends and family. That's what brings us joy.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like it could be a whole podcast, a new podcast too. John, there you go. I'm giving you homework. You got to start a podcast called Rolodex Roulette. Invite guests on. They got to bring their phone and you call them.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be dangerous.
that could be dangerous.
Yeah, but it could be a lot of fun, and you're probably gonna be saving lives as well.
Man, just some of the things you get from me if you hire me as a coach, and my coaching costs money because it's the way I make my living.
Yeah,
but it's worth every penny.
I can tell that already. Just
and you get a friend for life.
Yeah.
Just because our coaching contract ends, that doesn't mean that I'm not in your corner.
Yeah.
So many of us spend time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Facebook aholic. And so I'll scroll through my feed. And I'll see someone post something that's out of character for me.
Yeah.
And most people who see that continue scrolling. And they chalk it up to, Rich is having a bad day. Not me. I stop.
Mm-hmm.
I call them. He said, Rich, I read that post, and boy, that didn't sound like the man I know. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah.
Do you need to talk? And those posts are that person subconsciously reaching out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really realize it. So when you call them with your undivided attention, you silence your phone and you're just going to sit there and have a conversation with them and just be a friend and offer your support and love and guidance and ideas. They jump at the chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that. I can't even tell you how many times. Because the last thing you want to do is see anybody have a bad day. And the last thing you want to do is feel like you could have done something to change their life and they're no longer here.
I had two really famous magicians that I knew from the castle. The first one I had dinner with on a Thursday night. And this magician always had a story. His name was Daryl. And he was one of the most creative magicians in the world. And we had become friends over the years. And, and he was sitting at the bar before his show, and the waiter had brought him his personal dinner. And so I sat at the bar and sat next to him and just started striking up a conversation because, again, he always loved to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, Daryl was just not interested. He was just eating his dinner. And I could tell that there was something weighing on him.
Yeah.
But I kind of took the hint that he didn't want to open up and left him alone. And the next day I was driving down to Hollywood Park and I got, all of a sudden my phone was blowing up. That one of the performers had hung themselves in the dressing room. And at that point, they weren't saying who it was. But I immediately knew who it was based upon that non-conversation we had.
Yeah.
And the blood drained from my body. And I was in a cold sweat. And then 7 months later, I was sitting at another bar. I don't know why the bar seems to be a common thread, but I was sitting in another bar next to another magician who I didn't know quite well as Daryl. But he was best friends with my best friend, magician friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he had dinner in front of him. He was just picking at it. And his name was Lehman. And I went up to Lehman and the stool swivel so you can be facing him.
Right.
And I just said his name and I waited for him to respond. And he didn't. He just continued picking at his food. And after 5 or 6 minutes of sitting there being ignored, I said, guess you're in your own world tonight. No big deal. I'll see you tomorrow. That night, he killed himself.
Oh, God.
And when the second person did that, I made a promise that if I ever saw anyone showing signs of true despair, that I would stop what I was doing and I would be present with them. I would interject myself into their thoughts.
Yeah.
Not that I could dissuade them from doing something they were really, really, really set on doing.
But you never know.
But you never know. Maybe I could have postponed it for a day. And that next day they got some big news that helped them through whatever their grief was or whatever it is. And now with social media, so many people are crying out for help. And as a human race, it is our responsibility to notice those things and care for another human being, period. You know, in military, you learn that your military brothers and sisters are family.
Yes.
You know, and they're going through a hard time, and you interject yourself into their life, even knowing that you're risking losing them as a friend over doing it.
I'd rather lose them as a friend than lose them altogether.
Yes. You got to be willing to take that risk because you're talking to them at the wrong time, and they take offense at you trying to supposedly butt into their life and give them unasked for advice.
You never know, and I've brought this story up before. Me and one of my best friends, we went to BJ's Warehouse one day, and as we're leaving, there was a lady there. She asked to look at your receipt, everything in the cart, and she asked us if we found everything okay. I took off my hat, and for those of you listening, yes, I'm bald. Bald is beautiful. I said, no. And she said, I'm sorry, what couldn't you find? And then I took off my hat and said, I can't find my hair. And she just lost it. She started cracking up. I went in, I think it was the following day, whatever, maybe a couple of days later. And because there was a speaker there, I wanted a Bluetooth speaker. So I bought it. And as I'm leaving, she was there again. And she came up, John, I am not lying. She gave me the biggest hug and thanked me. I said, for what? What did I do? She said, you just made me laugh by taking your hat off and, say I couldn't find my hair. She goes, in all honesty, I was going to go home that day and just end it all. I was having a bad day, so many things going on, and you saved my life. I started tearing up and gave her another hug. Because you never know.
You never know.
You never know. Just saying hi, wave and smile and being a goofball like I was, it can save somebody's life, and even your own too.
Yeah,
even your own.
When I go into a store and I have a salesperson say, "You find everything you like you were looking for?" and I said, "No, I'm missing one thing," and they turn around and say, "What is that?" And I said, "That winning lottery ticket."
Oh yeah.
They say it was on aisle 5. I searched aisle 5 up, down twice. And I could not find that winning lottery ticket. Where is it? And that always makes them smile and laugh.
Oh, God. But speaking of winning lottery tickets, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 5.
5?
Number 5?
Yeah.
This is going to determine the last question for you. Now, pick a number between... I got to find block 5, first of all. Now pick a number between 81 and 100.
99.
99. All right. This kind of goes back to the Don Adams reference in a way, doesn't it? Barbara Felton, Agent 99.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
All right. Oh, John, this, and again, I don't know what these questions are, but this lines up perfect with what we've been talking about. If you could eliminate one source of stress from your life, what would it be?
The fact that I'm overweight.
You can eliminate that. I was the same way. I was 300 pounds. And I started using this app called Noom, counting my calories, and now I'm down to 245. And I became a big fan of frozen seedless red grapes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, they help. Oh yeah, yeah. We'll talk here in a little bit. I was the same way and I play Santa professionally, so I have to wear the fake belly. I didn't have to before, but now I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this, and I was able to. And threw away those big pants and everything, except for one pair. I kept them to always remind myself. Right. Always remind myself. John, I want to thank you so much. It's been an honor. And you know what? The door is always open. Anytime you want to come back, because I love hearing all the stories. And those of you listening again, when you purchase the book, Make sure you leave a full review everywhere. And go and watch the documentary and the TED Talk and everything else, because you're going to be floored. It is that damn good.
Look me up on Facebook. Look me on Instagram. Send me a message saying, hey, I heard that podcast.
Well, I don't know about you, but this conversation reminded me of something we all need to hear occasionally. Life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes we're handed challenges we never asked for. Sometimes we're forced to carry scars, whether they're visible or not. But as John shared today, those scars don't have to define us. In fact, they can become the very thing that helps us connect with others, inspire hope, and discover a purpose we never expected. I love John's message that being different is your superpower. And honestly, I think that's something every one of us can take to heart. The things that make us unique, the struggles we've overcome, the experiences we've lived through, those aren't weaknesses. They're part of our story. A huge, huge thank you to John Kippen for joining us and for being so open, honest, and inspiring. Be sure to visit his website, check out his coaching programs, pick up a copy of Playing the Hand You Were Dealt, watch his TEDx talk, and definitely watch the documentary, and connect with him on social media. And for all of you listening, here's my challenge. Stop hiding the thing that makes you different. Embrace it. Share it. Use it to help someone else, because you never know whose life might change simply because you had the courage to be yourself. Until next time, my name is Rich Bennett, and I want to thank you for listening and for being part of the conversation. And remember, sometimes the greatest magic isn't found in a trick. It's found in the way we choose to live our lives.